good to me.
Enjoy this, A's fans. Enjoy it. A's and Mets next, and we'll talk to you after the ball game.
And I think it's an exciting time for a couple different reasons. One, you're winning ball games. And though it might not be in the fashion you expect with the light tower power on display, this team has been able to build innings and put different offensive runs together. They went 4 games without seeing that power. No homers over the last 4 games. However, Sodi stepped up and popped his first one of the ball game. He was also popping the chains. Cortez said, I want in on the action. He left the building. He put the mask on as well. And Sodi was not done. That's right. He logged his 5th multi-homer game of his career, and he wore the mask one more time. The chain is popping. The masks are what they're rocking. I love the way that this offense is broken out.
I love it, too. And the pearly whites of Luis Severino. So childlike putting that mask on in there. Well, the starter today will be very familiar with his opponent. Freddie Peralta and Aaron Civale, both teammates with Milwaukee. They'll be on the bump. But for Aaron, the green and gold is looking good on him as he makes his 3rd start.
He's been a stabilizing force in this rotation, Jenny. When you think about getting quality starts from the back end of the rotation, look no further than what Aaron Civale has brought to the table. 5 solid innings in both starts. Remember, he logged the team's first W of the season. That was against Atlanta. And he did a great job in New York in the opening series. 6 punch-outs for the right-hander. And I think right now he is looking to lead the charge for hopefully what turns into the first series sweep of the season for the green and gold.
There's nothing like a Sunday at the ballpark, right? Of course, when you've been winning, it's extra fun. And the A's today going to try and complete that sweep. Bust out the brooms. Get some cleaning done. And then throw them in the air, hopefully, after the A's and the Mets coming up.
Saving your brain is a definite win.
Don't mess with your melon.
If you hit it, get it checked.
This telecast is brought to you by Toyota. Class-leading MPG and more hybrid models than any other brand. Toyota. Let's go places.
Ex-girlfriend.
In the Big Apple for one final day. It's been a long week in New York City, but the Athletics have checked a lot of boxes and collected a lot of wins so far. They are 4-1 on the road trip. It's been a winning trip, but they hope to get a sweep against the Mets. If they do, that would be the first time it's ever happened in franchise history. A beautiful Sunday afternoon in the green and gold, glistening in the sunshine. Let's get you game time weather brought to you by Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Temps will be in the mid-50s here today. First pitch will be at 54 degrees. The wind is still whipping, though, 22 miles per hour. You see some coats out there, but we're all shedding a few layers, which is a good thing. But the wind, it's coming to play a couple different times. We finally saw the home runs come out yesterday, so hopefully when the A's are up, that wind's blowing again.
Well, you mentioned the temps around the mid-50s or so, Jenny. I think it may be a little toastier here because the green and gold, well, right now they are hot. And I'm loving everything that we're seeing from this team. We talked about it a little in the open. And it's the way that they're scoring runs, the way that they're scoring runs in different ways. We saw the power resurface again in yesterday's ball game, and I know that's put a smile on that man's face right there, Mark Kotze, the manager.
And he wants to deliver his daughter, Grace Kotze, a birthday present. Happy 22nd to Grace. Here's the starting lineup today for Kotze's crew. It'll be Lawrence Butler leading off for the 3rd straight game. Nick Kurtz is going to hit behind him. And then Shea Langolier is also in there all 3 games against the Mets as the catcher. Tyler Soderstrom will clean it up. The DH is Carlos Cortez. Max Muncy, Jeff McNeil, the former Met. Daryl Hernandez getting a started shortstop today, and Denzel Clark.
And the man on the mound looking to prevent the series sweep here at the hands of the Athletics is their opening day starter, Freddie Peralta. He's got 3 starts under his belt so far this season. A sparkling record of, well, 1-0. He did win that opening day start. 15 innings for Freddie Peralta. Last time out was not able to get through 5, however. That was against the Diamondbacks. 4 2/3 tag for 3 runs. Did punch out 5. but some command issues surfaced. 3 walks for Freddie Peralta. But Jenny, he's got a good fastball and some good secondary stuff we'll get into a little later, and we'll see if that secondary stuff indeed can come into play.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Freddie Peralta here today. Jared Young's playing first base, the Gold Glover Marcus Simeon, and the Gold Glover Francisco Lindor up the middle. Then it's Bo Bichette at third. Luis Torrens is getting his first start of the series as the catcher, and in the outfield left to right, it's Tyrone Taylor, Carson Benj in center today, and Brett Beatty in right. There's Torrens getting ready to catch Freddie Peralta. There's Freddie, the veteran presence, traded over from the Milwaukee Brewers in January with Tobias Myers, who we've seen out of the bullpen for the Mets. Lawrence ready to rock and roll, and here's the first pitch from Freddie Peralta. It misses outside. Butler led off the game yesterday with a hit, and it was a nice sign of what was to come for the Athletics.
That's now 3 games in a row that we've seen Law Dog in that leadoff spot.
One of the 15 hits for the A's in the air to center field. And you can see the left fielder will be the one to make the catch, and Tyrone Taylor one gone. With one out, Nick Kurtz coming up, and here's a look at the umpiring crew. DJ Rayburn's calling balls and strikes. It's Sean Barber at first, John Lipka at second, and the crew chief, who had the plate last night, James Hoy, at third. That's 59 plate appearances now for Nick Kurtz. Hitting just 196. But we have seen him work in a variety of ways, and that includes being very patient. 2 walks late in the ball game, 1 in the 8th inning, and that started a 2-out rally for the Athletics. It was just a 1-run affair at that point. 7-6. Here he is at 0-2 count against Peralta. He's busted out 4 runs in that 8th inning. Those runs they've scored out on the road. 11-6 was the win yesterday. 4 straight wins for these A's. Check to see if Kurtz went around. He didn't.
Well, Jenny, this is a side of the platoon that Freddie Peralta has had a ton of success with, really over the entirety of his career. No, he didn't, says James Hoy. Here's that good changeup from Freddie Peralta. One of his weapons. Nick Kurtz able to put the peepers on him.
The 2-2, and this is what Kurtz can do. Get you to throw some pitches up there, get deep into counts. Right now, a full count. And a swing and a miss. Peralta putting Kurtz away with the first strikeout.
Well, it's DJ Rayburn on the 1s and 2s behind the dish tonight.
Wiki.
70-6 combined record in football, basketball, and baseball during his senior year at DeWitt High out in Michigan. Dude's a baller. Strike zone stays consistent even once you get to 2 strikes. And in a day and age where there's a little help from our friends at the ABS, I think you appreciate the consistency. That's all you're looking for from a pitching perspective, from a hitting perspective. Can I settle in and get comfortable with today's strike zone?
1-1 count for Langoliers. Shea had a multi-hit game yesterday. 3 hits against these Mets. And Shea with a liner into center field, and a late read from Carson Benj. Shea will be on with 2 outs.
Well, Jenny, I think he got a good read on it. I think what happened was he hesitated because the initial step was in. This hard hit ball coming right at you as a center fielder. You'll see these are one of the toughest plays to make because you're not quite sure, is it going to stay up? Am I going to be in a spot where I can lay out and make a play? And you saw the initial break in and then a bit of a sidestep, and then that's when he ended up laying out.
Soderstrom swings at the first pitch, and it's foul.
And thank goodness he didn't fully commit to the cause with that first step, because that's what allowed that ball to drop right in front of him.
Strike off the four-seamer.
Masodi had himself an afternoon. That was the first long ball of the day. And that was the second one. And that ball was torched. Sevy couldn't wait to put the mask on him.
Swing and a miss. 96. 2 strikeouts for Freddie Peralta. Langoliers left on base. Aaron Savali will get it started for
Junio por Telemundo.
Scoreless bottom of the first, and the New York Mets coming up to bat this Sunday. Francisco Lindor, the switch hitter, is the leadoff hitter, followed by the DH Jorge Polanco. Then it's Jared Young, Bo Bichette cleaning up, Brett Beatty hitting 5th, Marcus Semien, Carson Binge, Luis Torrens, and Tyrone Taylor to round it out.
And it's going to be the stabilizer, Aaron Savali. I love everything that we've gotten from Aaron Savali so far this season. He's got 2 starts under his belt. Those came on the first road trip of the season, up in Toronto and then in Atlanta. And remember, Aaron Savali responsible for getting the green and gold on the board, logged the first W of the season, also logged the first W for a starting pitcher in the rotation. But they do a nice job here pregame at Citi Field, and they're breaking down the starting pitching matchups, and it's something that we've understood about Aaron Savali, but something that I truly appreciate about the right-hander, and that's his ability to pitch. That big curveball that you just saw, something he does a good job of changing eye levels with, but he's not somebody, as we've known, who's going to light the radar gun up. But when you can put the baseball where you want at will.
2-1 and a liner into right over Nick Kurtz. Wants to throw it into second, and Francisco Lindor has a leadoff hit for the Mets here in Game 3. Let's take a look at the A's defensively. You just saw Kurtz try and leap to make that catch at first. Jeff McNeil's at second. Daryl Hernandez getting the start at short today for Jacob Wilson. Then it's Max Muncy at third. Shea Langoliers doing the catching. Lawrence Butler's in right. Denzel Clark in center, and Tyler Soderstrom out in left field.
There's Daryl. See Willie getting a breather. And that was a big part of the conversation, I think, in spring training and heading into the season, is what sort of flexibility this roster is looking for, and Daryl Hernandez providing a whole lot of flexibility.
1-0 count to Polanco missing.
He give you time at any one of those 3 infield spots outside of first base, third base, shortstop, like this afternoon, second base as well. He's gotten a little run out in the outfield, doing whatever he can to expand that utility belt. See the cutter there from Savali, and that's another weapon again that he's able to utilize to work towards the handle on these left-handed hitters, work away to the right-handers.
Here's the pitch, a swing and a miss. The curveball. Jorge Polanco.
I mean, that's a level changer.
From 86 with the cutter to start, down to 77 with the curveball. Talked about the ability to pitch. Deep arsenal for Savali. 2-2's the count. Polanco's been dealing with an Achilles injury. It's kept him at the DH spot and not in the field. At first base where they thought he would be. Check over on the door. Here's the payoff pitch. Lindor's going. A strikeout. And how about throw him out?
Oh, my goodness. Lindor may as well have just peeled off and stuck his hand out. There was no shot. I mean, Lindor, not a great jump at all. Knew he was not going to get anywhere near second base. You see the back step before he took off. I mean, that is less than ideal, to say the least. And I wanted to say something about Shea Langoliers here in the squad again for the matinee. This is emblematic of the leadership and the intangibles that Langoliers comes with. Now, you can tangibly see him in the lineup in the ballgame right now. The idea is his desire to be present. I think he understands what it would mean to get out of here with a series sweep, especially the way the road trip has gone, what that would mean.
Here's the 1-1 on the ground. It'll get to on the right side. It'll be a base hit with 2 outs for Jared Young.
Time now for StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. It's Langoliers back there pushing the buttons, and he's got a few he can choose from here with Savali and his arsenal. The cutter, the sinker, the curveball. We've seen all three. Good four-seam fastball. Kind of straighten those hitters' line of sight out. Little slider, gyro style, and the splitter. So there's a lot of different options for Aaron Savali when it comes to how he wants to slice and dice.
There's a Bo Bichette. He'll take a strike off the cutter.
But I think for Shea to be able to talk his way into the lineup and tell the manager, hey, no, I feel good. I want to see this road trip out.
I love it. Everyday Shea, right? And for a guy that, again, with this team, Dallas, you talk about the way the schedule laid out. 12 of 15 on the East Coast to start. You're going to go home. You're in a stretch of 16 straight. But that shows how important this potential victory and sweep for this team is at this moment.
Well, it's just about being able to build momentum. You know, each and every day you want to take something away that you can take into tomorrow, whether it's a lesson, should you come up short, or it's, again, positive energy when the team wins.
1-2's the count to Bichette. And that bounces. It's going to get past Langoliers to the backstop, and it'll move Jared Young into scoring position. No pitch.
Well, this is just a tough pitch for anybody to corral here. It's a curveball in the left-hand batter's box. Shea trying to do everything he can to get out and around it. Not easily done.
Bichette had a great game yesterday, 2 for 3, and here a swing and a miss. Savali gets him to go around. 2 strikeouts for Aaron Savali. He faced 4 Mets batters. We'll move to the second.
We are proud to offer $10 tickets for military members, veterans, first responders, and more, thanks to our partnership with GovX.com. Whether you're active duty, reserve, or retired, it's our way of saying thank you for your duty and service. Claim your discounted tickets today at athletics.com/value.
A strike to Carlos Cortez, the left-handed hitter, the DH once again. The Athletics without Brent Rooker for a little bit of time. On the IL with an oblique injury. Fortunate news of the road trip, and really kind of that lone bad spot. It's been such a great road trip.
Well, Cortez filled the void nicely yesterday afternoon. Got in on the long ball action. I mean, that's a great job by Cortez to go up top, get a hanging breaking ball away, get the head out early enough, pull that elevated pitch. Something that's not easily done, but he's got some thump, and I think he's unassuming to the opposition at times.
Makes the batting average .333, and he'll serve this out to left field, an opposite field hit for Cortez, and that'll add to his totals against the Mets. That's now 3 hits this series.
And just think about the clip we just showed you with him being able to go up top and pull a ball with power that was away from him. And this pitch, again, slightly elevated, but instead of trying to do damage in that spot. What's he do? Just kind of serves it the other way. I mean, he's got pure hitter type vibes.
So does Max Muncy. He's had a nice start to the year after winning the third base job for the Athletics. 21's the batting average, 2 home runs, 5 driven in. We've seen Max with a lot of hard contact. A lot of extra base hits so far through 14 games.
Well, I think what we'll take a look at right now, speaking of how hard he's been hitting the ball, is he's done a great job of covering the zone. You know, down and in, really not a lot of fun for many folks to hit unless you're left-handed, but virtually everywhere else, he's been able to get to with authority.
Peralta has him 0-2. Here's the pitch foul back.
Months, you can see hits in 12 of the 14 games this season, 8-game hit streak, batting average over 400. But the extra base hits, he puts himself in scoring position. The other boys were able to capitalize on that. No, he didn't.
Here's the pitch.
But between Max and Carlos, these guys are providing punch in a portion of the lineup that, you know, maybe not a lot of teams have.
It's a great point. I mean, that's where the A's have had success, right? They didn't have the home run early, but you look at the lineup being able to lengthen. The guys at the bottom of the order doing the job, guys in the middle of the order doing damage. Finally, we saw more of what we thought the makeup would be of the offense yesterday when they put up 11 runs. 3 homers. Take from Muncy. Popped up, and it's going to get out of play.
And I think that might be my only gripe with Citi Field.
Come on, you got a gripe about this place?
There's zero chance at a foul ball up here.
It's beautiful. You can't really see from this picture as well as we're looking at the field. The grounds crew does a great job here. They play soccer here, Major League Soccer here. Split time between here and Yankee Stadium, and so there's lines kind of faded out on the field. There they are. And then you got the construction going on next door. You were talking about the dust flowing around, trying to get the brooms out today for the A's, but that dust is coming from the big stadium, soccer stadium. Casino's supposed to go in as well, so really building up this area around Flushing, Queens. But this ballpark, Dallas, built in 2009. It's holding strong.
So you're telling me I'm selfish, is what you're saying?
I was just, yeah, I was trying to paint that picture.
Okay.
I'm glad you picked that up. It's a Sunday, day game after night game. You're not slow, though. Broken bat, ball slowly rolling towards Lindor, and he'll get it to first as Muncy falls after hitting the base there. He'll get up, and Ryan Christensen, the first base coach, will check on him and jog on back. Cortez moved to second, 1 out.
Well, he got the bat sawed in half. The only play Lindor was going to have was being able to charge it and get it over to first base in time, just in time to nail Max Muncy, who, as you see, just kind of took a long step on the bat and eventually hit the ground. But I think that was more to kind of help protect himself.
Cheers here at Citi Field once again for Jeff McNeil. He has had a nice, warm welcome back. It's been 8 years here. A one-hopper to second. Simeon will gather, turn, and throw. Cortez on third, 2 gone.
Maybe it's the Mets fans realizing, you know what, the game started. He's taking his first at bat. That can only mean we're getting that much closer to getting McNeil out of here, because this dude has been raking.
He has a rare out with that at bat. He's 5 for 10 this series. Also crushing against the Yankees. He told us yesterday he loves to hit at that ballpark. And the results, you can probably see why. Darryl Hernandez, 250 this season through the 8 games that he's played. Alice was talking about that utility presence that he brings on the bench, being able to play a couple different positions, gives Mark Kotsay some options.
And what I love about Darryl is he has an everyday player mentality. And I think he understands, you know, what his role is on the roster right now.
1-1, a fly ball in the air towards right, and it's going to get to the seats and out of play.
And I think it's important that you have a guy like Darryl who does believe, hey, I can play every day at the big league level, but he also understands and embraces the role that he's serving.
It's a competition mindset, right? It really started at camp coming in. It was, all right, you have an opportunity to play third base. Max Muncy, we know you can hit. Can you play third base? And those guys competed every day. He played in the WBC, Puerto Rico, and his teammate on third right now in Carlos Cortez. They're still sporting their blonde locks under those helmets.
Yeah, I was thinking about dyeing mine too.
You should. Be a good look. 2 outs in the second, the 2-2 in foul.
I told him it's in solidarity, boys. I played winter ball in Puerto Rico. You know, any room for me on that train?
Forget the hair. How about the beard?
Yeah.
You know?
That's one of those, you dye that, I just don't know that it comes back.
2-2 again. And Darryl will take a pitch to get to a full count.
This is a heck of an at-bat. And again, this is the kind of quality ABs that we've been talking so much about here.
Driving the pitch count up early for Freddie Peralta. He's at 37 here in the second inning. A little conversation on the plate here. Darryl kind of puts his hands up towards the dugout. Any idea what that's about?
It might be talking about the count is what I think they're talking about.
The count is 3-2, and Carlos Mendoza now questioning things.
Everybody just trying to make sure that we've got the right amount of balls and strikes.
We had that situation in Major League Baseball this year, right?
Yeah.
Where the count was wrong, and no one said anything. It's good to double check. It is 3-2. 2 outs, runner on third. Here's the payoff pitch, and misses inside. You see the bat flip from Darryl Hernandez. A great AB, plate appearance, as he's going to jog on down to first. A 2-out walk.
Well, that is something that you should be proud of, the at-bat that he just put together. I mean, you fight. You have to have a good blend of being able to battle pitches, spoil pitches, and in the end, you realize that's not close. I can take that and keep this line moving.
Now it's Denzel Clark's turn. Runners on first and third. Take the called strike.
We saw in the first inning from Freddie Peralta, 92, 93 mile an hour fastballs, stepped on a couple, got up to 95, 96. Now a little more consistently in that 5-6 range. Denzel, who has been at the bottom of the lineup this year, stepped up Friday, got himself a big knock. 2 RBI knock. And after watching him, I think, do a good job of picking his spots when to get big, take big swings, but also give himself up.
Also walk with bases loaded yesterday, and that scored the tying run early in the game after the Mets led 1-0. A comeback win yesterday. Denzel's going to challenge the strike call. First ABS challenge today.
This is going to be borderline.
Batter's challenging the strike call.
Waiting on it.
Yeah.
Hasn't come through yet, and here
I think it might be one of those
it does.
where the seam just catches, if anything.
It is a ball. And the ABS powered by T-Mobile, Denzel knows the zone. Dang. Less than 0.1 inches outside. And now a favorable count, 2-1. Is that the closest you've seen this year for the Athletics? Renee's taken off foul.
Yeah, I mean that is very close. Yeah, but unfortunately there, Denzel offering it a ball in off the plate. Daryl Hernandez had a heck of a jump. But you see a pitch you like, you see a fastball, which is what he got. You let it fly.
Two on, 2 outs. Here's the 2-2. Hernandez going again. Torrens doesn't throw down. He checks back at Cortez. And now second and third. So Daryl coming up with a stolen base, his first of the year.
Love it. Daryl with great time. You can see Torrens down on that knee. He was not ever serious about getting that ball to second. Really just looking to see if he could get somebody off of third.
Another 3-2 count. Looking to get on or drive someone in. He'll take the pitch. This time it is strike 3. The curveball got Denzel looking, and that is how the inning ends. 2 left on for the Athletics. We'll stay connected in Espanol. Beautiful day here in New York City, of course, right? We're rounding out a week's stay. Finally get the nice weather coming out.
Well, it is. It's nice to see that we've seen the power break out. We've seen the sun break out. It is unfortunate that we're getting the best weather on getaway day.
It works that way somehow, right? Heading back to West Sacramento. We're just going to say goodbye to 80-degree weather here in New York. A swing for Brett Beatty. Fly ball to left field. And the out made by Soderstrom. One gone here in the bottom of the second. Scoreless. It's at 53 degrees. That'll be a nice jump.
Yeah, we just haven't been able to nail down decent weather when you think about it. I mean, if it's going to be 80 degrees here after we leave, we're going back home to what has been a drizzly Sacramento area.
It's just making everything more green. For the return of the green and gold, Dallas.
Hey, I love greenery.
A little chilly on the West Coast for the return. Savali missing. A 1-0 count here for Marcus Semien. Well, April, it's no picnic sometimes in Major League Baseball in terms of weather. Traveling around. Going around. 1-1. Talked about it yesterday. Manager Mark Kotze was asked about it from some of the New York media about baseball's numbers in general, offensive numbers being down a bit, but there's so many factors, right, Dallas? You talk about early in the season, just 2 weeks in, guys settling into roles, whether you're traveling into weather conditions or not. We've seen a lot of wind this week in New York. This ball sky high to right, and it will be Jeff McNeil going out to catch it in shallow right. 2 gone.
Something we're always aware of is that pitching, for the most part, always has a leg up in the confrontation early in the season. Once you start to settle into the daily grind, I think that's when hitters start to get comfortable, start to see that gap close considerably. But I think the ABS and guys kind of feeling out the strike zone and how it's utilized, how it works, what their zones might be, has played a bit of a role in it.
Bit of a fact-finding mission early. Here's the 1-0 to Carson Benj. It's 2 pitches out of the zone. Savali had some traffic in the first. Lindor led off with a single and then able to get the double play, strike him out, throw him out as Lindor was caught stealing. Another single and then another strikeout. Gonna make quick work of this second, but a 3-0 count here to Benj. Savali's had all road starts this season. So next homestand will be his first chance in green and gold. In front of the home fans in West Sac. Nice play by Kurtz to get to the ball. He flips it over to Savali, a race to the bag, and the pitcher wins out. 3 up, 3 down. We'll go to the third, scoreless. Great defense from the first baseman. We've seen it all week long here in New York.
Well, I think Nick Kurtz specifically has done a really nice job of contributing on the defensive side of the baseball. I mean, we showed a nice highlight pack the other day on everything that Nick Kurtz has brought to the table defensively. And a shout out Savali. You got to get over there. You know, with second base turning into a much more athletic position than I think it was a decade or so ago. And that's because of the shift and the positioning that we see teams deploy. You no longer just kind of camped over there on the right side. You don't have the luxury of having a third defender on the same side as you. So you've got to move, and first base as well. You cannot afford to have an anchor at first base. You got to be able to move laterally. We talk so much about how important the first step is for defenders, and whether that's a first step, that's a drop step to create a good angle.
1-2 to Butler, fly ball out to center field, and Carson Benj with the catch. 1 out. I love a good defensive pack. Let's do it.
Well, this was that big play that Kurtz made the other night to preserve the 1-0 lead at the time. Got Lindor a little too far off third base. And in that moment, remember, he had to make really 3 decisions all at the same time. Am I going for the double play here? Do I want to let the ball game get tied up? Do I want to head over to first base now that I've let that double play kind of go and get that out? Or do I believe Francisco Lindor is going to get a little farther off once he sees me start to head to first base? And the answer to that last question was yes, I do. And Lindor indeed found himself straying just a little too far away from the reef. He got gobbled up.
He did. Kurtz takes the timeout with an 0-2 count. 50 pitches for Peralta. First time through the A's order. He got into some deep counts. Allowed 3 base runners, a swing and a drive. Nick Kurtz on the board in the Big Apple. Home run number 1 for the big fella, and it came in game 15. Athletics up 1-0.
Well, how about it? Nicky Nukes. The homer chain. And you know what's coming. Where's Sevy? Slap it on him, Sevy. Here we go.
So good.
Oh. Pachyderm power back in business, baby.
Langoliers with the fly ball to right, going back to the track. second, still traveling to make the catch, is Brett Beatty. He hit the wall too gone. That feels good for Nick Kurtz.
Well, it's 0-2. Peralta trying to expand the strike zone down. And the big Amish with a swing as smooth as butter, baby, goes down and gets it. See ya.
Soderstrom had 2 homers yesterday. In fact, you look at this A's squad. First 4 games of the road trip, no long balls. Last 2 games, 4 long balls. Couple guys getting their firsts.
Well, that homer for Nick Kurtz coming specifically against a guy who I mentioned in Freddie Peralta, who has been a silencer of left-handed hitters. Kurtz just doing a great job of staying on this pitch. Talked about down and in, maybe not being a hot spot for a guy like Max Muncy right now. And I specifically said left-handers, however, have notoriously.
Ground ball, weekly hit to second, and Marcus Semien will gather and make the out. You said it, left-handed power, hard to do against Peralta, but Kurtz goes deep, and the A's up 1-0. Elephant on.
MLB Plus is new for 2026. You can stream MLB Network 24/7, select out-of-market games every single week, plus live radio broadcasts of every ball game. We've got Game Day 3D, big inning, and minor league action as well. Visit MLB.com/MLB Plus to subscribe today.
It took 48 ABs, but finally a homer for Nick Kurtz here in Game 15, and the lead for the Athletics this Sunday. Trying to sweep the Mets. Luis Torrens leads it off, followed by Tyrone Taylor and then Francisco Lindor. There's the 0-1 from Savali.
Isn't that a song they sing here? Step right up and sweep the.
I think you're changing the words of the song, but I do like your version better.
I'd like to hear that tune.
I'd just like to hear you sing more. One hopper to short, and Hayes makes the out. One gone, and the 9-hole hitter Tyrone Taylor up to bat.
Well, you gotta love early outs. You gotta love quick outs, and I think for Aaron Savali, after watching his lineup in back-to-back innings kind of extend Peralta a bit. Back to the conversation we were having yesterday about, you know, those momentum innings when you start to feel like your offense is creating momentum, whether it's just by virtue of quality at bats and then obviously with the Kurtz homer. You want to get the boys back in the dugout ASAP.
That's right. Shut them down in the field. Come back and move in. Here's the 1-1. Taylor drives it to left. Soderstrom back at the track, and he'll make the catch. Swinging the bat well. The last couple of games he's played was 4 for his previous 8, making his first out of this game. 2 gone, and back to the beginning. Francisco Lindor coming up, and he has had a tough start to the season. And we're not just talking about offense. We're talking about defensive mistakes. We saw him today. Try and steal second. He's called out by a long shot.
I'm not sure his walk-up song isn't maybe a plea to Mets fans. Stand by me was his walk-up song.
You're probably right. Two and 0.
And I think it's understood that Francisco Lindor has, you know, bore the weight of the franchise for a long time, and now obviously with the arrival of Juan Soto, maybe some of that responsibility is shared.
Pops it up here. left side. Hernandez going out to shallow left. Soderstrom was charging in, but the shortstop calling for it, and Hernandez makes the catch. Another 3 up, 3 down. A's Baseball is brought to you by the official pest prevention, ridding your space of pests officially. There's the Mets Wall of Fame here at Citi Field. A lot of great history that's memorialized. Great ballpark to walk around if you ever get the chance to make it out to New York, catch a game. I'd favor this one. I'm just saying. I like the stadium.
You know, I truly have enjoyed my time here at Citi Field. I think I enjoy this fan base. I respect their passion. You know, Jenny, I had the opportunity to play in front of what I do truly believe were the best fans in baseball. And it was because of that shared passion, that shared enthusiasm and excitement for their team. And this is a team.
Cortez pops it up. And into foul territory, back into fair play. A catch for Bo Bichette.
It's a team who's going to be held accountable by the fan base. You know, they got the 7-line army.
Oh, yeah.
And they demand quality baseball. They want winning baseball, and not just the 7-line, but everybody that shows up to this ballpark. And I think at times, understanding how things have gone for Mets fans who have been lifelong Mets fans, you can understand and appreciate some of their frustrations, if you will.
A team that began in 1962. They're celebrating their 65th season here. So yeah, generations of fans now. 40 years ago is when they won their last World Series, 1986. So you're saying it's been a minute, I think.
Well, it's been a minute, and trust me, I'm not throwing stones, because I mean, just a few years after that win came the last time for the green and gold. So I can understand. I can sympathize.
Absolutely. Once he has the 3-1 count here, fired off and fouled off a pitch on 3-0. Peralta at 64 pitches, 65 coming up. He's had some shortened outings this year, called strike and a full count. A lot of the reason, probably why those shortened outings, you look at getting deep into counts. He's had a couple of A's batters at 3-2 today. Longest outing was at St. Louis. That was 5 1/3 for Peralta. Pitch missing inside, and Muncy will take a walk with 1 out.
Peralta exhibiting some frustration right now. Let's jump in the Wayback Machine. 1986. They would dogpile on the pitcher's mound. See Gary Carter, the rest of the boys living it up. I mean, what a moment, right?
Amazing.
Some would say.
Yeah, the Amazins. Jeff McNeil, of course, knows the history all too well here. 8 years spent as a Met. He's have 3 hits. It's the homer from Nick Kurtz that gave him the lead, and now another hit on this road trip. And here at Citi Field for Jeff McNeil, extra bases as he heads to second. A stop at third for Muncy. How about a double for Jeff McNeil?
Oh, dub sack for Jay Mack. Fastball trying to crowd the left-hander, and McNeil able to just open up, whip that torpedo barrel through. And Muncy was a great athlete. Over to third, no problem. Third base coach Bobby Crosby has to hit the brakes on him. Now the Athletics here with 2 on and 1 out, got a little something cooking. Let's see what they're cooking on the mound. This meeting on the mound is brought to you by the injury attorneys of Ashton and Price. Showed you that Freddie Peralta not happy with that ball 4.
against Max Muncy. It wasn't about the call, it was just about the lack of execution. That's how the breakdown for Freddie Peralta has gone this afternoon. 68 total pitches, 43 strikes, 25 balls.
I traded to the Mets in January, coming off a career best season, 17 wins for Peralta last year in an all-star campaign for the Milwaukee Brewers. He was 17-6. You talk about a guy who has posted 3 consecutive years of 30+ starts and also 3 consecutive years of 200+ strikeouts. Here's pitch 70 of the game. Fouled for him, Hernandez, 0-2. Has to be strange, right, for Peralta? I mean, he's a guy that grew up, literally grew up in that Milwaukee Brewers organization. Just 29 years of age. He debuted in 2018, so get to 21. Now you find yourself with a brand new team trying to make an impact in their starting rotation. Infield in here with 2 on and 1 out. Dirt.
With 1 out. Mendoza's has got the infield in. You see 2-time All-Star with the Brewers, 214 ball games, 165 starts for Freddie Peralta.
Look at that career record, 71 wins. Daryl Hernandez with a wave and miss. Strikeout makes the 2nd out.
Freddie just going to slow him down, drop a changeup down and in. That thing just took a hard right turn. I mean, almost like a left-handed slider, the way it kind of wrapped around the back foot of Daryl Hernandez.
4th strikeout for Peralta. It'll bring up Denzel Clark. He struck out looking in the 2nd. Trying to get a job done here to center field, and charging in will be Benj. She dives, and a catch for the rookie. Wow. Denzel Clark's done that to so many around the league, and now Benj gets him.
Well, that is a huge catch for Benj. Keeps 2 runs off the board, brings the inning to an end. That's a heck of a play for the young fella. Nothing. Take you back to how that last half inning ended. As you said, partner, Denzel Clark has been on the opposite end of this so many times. But here he's the one that gets the knock taken away. What an effort from Carson Benj. We saw him earlier in the ball game. Hard hit ball by Langoliers. He made a good first step on, kind of hesitated and laid out, wasn't able to gather it cleanly. That would go for a hit, but this time he sold out and made a heck of a play, keeping 2 runs off the board. Brought the inning to an end.
He really did. First time this series he's playing center field. Luis Robert Jr.'s been there. He's on the bench today with Savali on the bump. Savali back to work here in the bottom of the 4th. 1-1 the count now for Jorge Polanco. That catch left 2 A's on. They're 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position, but on the board with a Nick Kurtz homer, his first of the season. That happened in the 3rd inning, and then Aaron Savali's backed up the work on the mound. Dallas has retired 7 straight after allowing a couple of hits in the 1st inning.
And when you see some of the at-bats that the A's have been able to put together, just from a discipline perspective, I think that can, even though you might not have runs get pushed across, it gives you a little confidence as a pitcher. You know, you're not necessarily squaring off against the other pitcher, but when you start to see your team chip away, run the pitch count up, and get to the other guy.
2-2, a wave and a miss. Savali owning Polanco in his career. Now a word from Tri-Counties Bank.
We've been providing big bank lending power and high-tech service throughout California for over 50 years. But we're still the locals down the street, no matter where your street may be. Tri-Counties Bank, California's local bank.
From the high-powered octane we've seen this series to 77-mile-an-hour curveball from Aaron Savali. It got Polanco to strike out. That's 8 career strikeouts against Aaron Savali for Polanco. First out of this inning, Jared Young has a 1-0 count. He has one of the hits for the Mets. He was left on in the first. Look at the journey for Aaron Savali from East Windsor, Connecticut. Played college ball at Northeastern. He was drafted as a Cleveland Indian. They turned into the Guardians, played there 4.5 seasons, traded to Tampa Bay in 2023. And then from Tampa Bay, he went to Milwaukee. That's where he was teammates with Freddie Peralta in 24. Last year started in Milwaukee, ground ball to second. And McNeil over to Kurtz Tugan. You go, okay, you're now in Milwaukee, traded to Chicago with the White Sox, and then traded to the Cubs. 3 teams for him. He was a starter. He was out of the bullpen, pitched in the postseason out of the pen, and had success last year. But gosh, you got that starter itch. You want to do it. And the Athletics provided a great opportunity for him, and he's delivered so far. 2 outs now, and Bo Bichette.
It just goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the ball game, and that Aaron Savali is a pitcher by very definition. He knows how to move the baseball around and keep you off balance. I mean, pitching is the art of disrupting timing.
He's mixing it up today as he's approaching 50 pitches. Inefficient.
And we marvel at the guys who have the 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, who have the 90-plus mile-an-hour wipeout sliders to go along with it. And sure, it's fun to watch, but I have just as much fun watching a guy who knows how to get you out front, run a fastball up top, understanding his change in eye level, drop a curveball down on you. I mean, there's just a lot to be said for being able to command the baseball.
It's a great art. Bichette to Kurtz. Kurtz will step on the bag, 3 up, 3 down. That's 10 straight retired from the ace starter, Aaron.
A's fans, don't miss out on getting this special Nick Kurtz giveaway. That's right, you be there Friday, April 17th, 6:40 p.m. A's are going to take on the White Sox. Love to have you there, because you know what? It's your chance to grab Big Amish's first ever bobblehead. Be a part of a must-see night. Get your tickets right now at athletics.com/promotions.
Oh yeah, that's a must-have in the collection, no question. Homer in the books for 2026 for Nick Kurtz. He waits on deck as Lawrence Butler with a ground ball to second. And gone.
Let's take you back. 3rd inning, 0-2 count. Peralta spins a curveball. And Nicky Nukes turns it around. Churn it up, big fella. That's number 1 of the season. The chain and mask follow. A little tug of the tusk from Sevy.
Peralta allowed 2 homers in his first outing against Pittsburgh Pirates. You ever watch them play baseball, Dallas?
I've seen the Buccos play once or twice. Did O'Neill Cruz hit a leadoff homer today? He did. Yep.
Just happened to catch that. Yeah, Pirates team's for real. Got some offense cooking. They did that against Peralta. But the Mets ended up winning that game. And it's been a pair of no decisions in the last 2 outings for Peralta at St. Louis and then against Arizona Diamondbacks. It took him 101 pitches that game to go 4 2/3. He's sitting there here right now at 4 1/3 innings pitched. And more efficient than that game. But still has had some deep counts. Here a 3-1 count to Nick Kurtz.
You know, and I think that right there is a good example of understanding the leverage. And Nick Kurtz not challenging it, because I think it was a ball that was off, well off. And Nick Kurtz, who's already shown a wonderful feel for the strike zone, but there's nobody on base, right? You got one out, and sure, you'd love to get a base runner, but you'd also love to save that challenge for maybe a situation that provides more leverage or would apply more pressure per the game situation.
Langoliers 1 for 2 today, single back in the first. 14 walks for Nick Kurtz this season. That's tops in Major League Baseball, top 2. Mike Trout leads the way with 15.
Well, even if you haven't broke out from a power standpoint, there's nobody that isn't aware of what you're capable of, and that's how you're going to be treated from here on out throughout your career. Guys don't want to give in. They don't want to make a mistake. So they start to nibble. They fall behind. Nobody wants to serve you something up at 3-1.
No too high. Torrance fake to throw back to first. Shea's been passed up as the Major League home run leader. A couple guys showing up with 6 homers now 2 weeks into the season. Jordan Alvarez, Gunnar Henderson, and Jordan Walker all tied with 6. Two foul. Shea's a 4-game hit streak with that single today. 4th hit of the series here against the Mets. 6th hit of the road trip. Driven in a couple runs as well. After going 2 for 12 in the homestand. Of course, that big power surge early, and here striking out. That's 5 now for Peralta.
Well, Freddie just challenging Langoliers here. I think, frankly, probably got away with one. 93, almost center cut.
Gives way to Tyler Soderstrom with 2 outs, and Kurtz on, pitch outside. Soderstrom 0 for 2 today. Makes him 2 for 5 in his career against Peralta. Chop slowly towards second. And Simeon to first. Kurtz left on. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. A's up by 1.
This high roller is brought to you by Circa Resort and Casino. Carlos Beltran played 7 seasons with the New York Mets during his time in Queens. 4-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover, Silver Slugger 2 times over. And this year he is being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Number 15 will be enshrined. He'll be retired by the Mets here in September. And a man who I think put together an illustrious career. I think, you know, perennial MVP contender. And remember, well, that's the ring of honor that he will join here at the end of the season. But for the power that Carlos Beltran provided, I think one of my favorite things, you're talking about a man who played 20 years in the big leagues, right? Just 8 times out of that 20-year career did he punch out over 100 times. And we talk about 200 strikeout seasons being a thing of regularity at this point. And especially from guys who are power driven, their game is, you know, primarily a power productivity. But he brought it all to the table.
They certainly did. I mean, talk about the 3 Gold Gloves. The defense was there. 2,725 hits. I think tainted for a bit. I thought Carlos would have gotten in, much sooner to the Hall of Fame. But you talk about the era, some of the riders that he's in. If you recall, he was hired to be the Mets manager in the 2020 season. Had the post and never managed in a single game. Had to step down after the Astros scandal broke. Fly ball to left field. Soderstrom with the catch. And Brett Beatty makes the first out. So 11 straight. He retired for Savali on a roll.
And I think some would say that that may have been, an unjustly punishment levied to Carlos Beltran. But I'm just glad that, as an industry, we've been able to move past that with Carlos specifically, because he is so deserving of the honor.
So deserving. It'll be great to see that class go into Cooperstown here this summer. Of course, Carlos remains involved in baseball, was the general manager for Team Puerto Rico in the WBC. Was able to construct that team that Darryl Hernandez and Carlos Cortez were on. Liner into left, Soderstrom coming in, and he'll make the catch as he slides for it, 2 outs.
Hard hit off the bat. Again, ball's got a little topspin to it. Sodi fully committed on that first step, able to close. Hits the slide just for good measure. See Savali say, hey, my bad, left it up. That away, Sodi.
We've seen some hard contact in this game. Not a lot to show for it on the scoreboard. A 1-0 lead for the Athletics. 4 hits for the A's, just 2 for the Mets. Those both came within the first 3 batters of the game that Savali faced. He's just mixed and matched and been able to create the outs with his defense. 1-1 here for Carson Bench, who had some flashy defense in center field against Denzel Clark. Saved a couple runs from coming across as Denzel had 2 in scoring position in the AB.
I think one of the coolest things about Carlos Beltran, as we put a cap on it, is the fact that he was Rookie of the Year and the career ends with him being a Hall of Famer.
It's awesome. Fly ball to center field. And more on the left part of center field. Soderstrom with the catch. So Soderstrom making all the outs here in the 5th. We'll go to the 6th. A's up 1-0. The 2026 All-Star Teacher Award presented by Provident Credit Union. Go to NBCSportsCalifornia.com/AST to check out Kristen Kircher of Berry Elementary School in Yuba City, as well as other finalists, and vote for your All-Star Teacher. The grand prize winning teacher school will receive $30,000. Vote now. Carlos Cortez, the designated hitter here today. 1 for 2, leads it off in the 6th. Cortez, Muncy, McNeil do up. Fly ball to left, going back. Tyrone Taylor, and he'll catch it at the track. One gone as Max Muncy strolls up.
Well, I think it's fair to say that Freddie Peralta, maybe not some of his best stuff, but has still done a nice job of battling. Now, sure, he's punched out 5. There's been some deep counts. A's have done a good job of kind of chipping away during some of those at-bats, but still just holding on to a 1-0 lead right now. There's been the workload for Freddie over the innings. That second inning, the longest one. Essentially doubling almost any other inning. But I think after that, that's where we've seen Freddie do a nice job of settling down. Here's our old friend, the throwing Samoan, Sean Manaea.
0-2 to Muncy, fell back.
Got to catch up with the big fella. First day in town, and just such a genuine, wonderful spirit.
He probably feels the same way about you.
Well, we had some good times together, some great conversations on and off the field, and I was able to watch the left-hander kind of grow up right before my very eyes, right? You get to the big leagues, you got a lot of hype surrounding you. There were, at times, I think people, I don't want to say misunderstood who Sean Manaea was, but maybe didn't quite understand where his competitive juices and where the motivation was coming from, because that is a man that has been very much motivated. But I think he even pointed out at times, you know, I think I got to be a little angrier on the mound.
I like it.
I'm a nice guy. Brother, you're one of the nicest I ever met.
It's okay to have split personalities, right? Step between the lines, you can be one dude, off the field be another. Once he takes it, it's strike three. Once he takes it, it's strike three. Changeup froze him. That's a second out.
Well, Freddie just kind of flipping this changeup in there. Stays up, but I think Muncy kind of looking out over the plate instead. Gets a pitch soft, working into him. Tough one to pull the trigger on.
Bring up Jeff McNeil here with 2 outs. McNeil got his very first hit against Freddie Peralta in his career. Came into the game for 7 when he faced the right-hander. Double in the 4th, and that double just added to a ridiculously great week for Jeff McNeil back in New York. Started against the Yankees, specifically when he returned to Citi Field. 6 for 11 with a pair of doubles. He's driven in a run, and right to the first baseman in Jared Young. So that'll make the final out, but the A's in control 1-0. A's Baseball is brought to you by the injury attorneys at Ashton and Price, Northern California's injury law firm. Beautiful look at Manhattan. You see the plane flying right through. A lot of air traffic at Citi Field with the airport so close. Only traffic in the air and in the outfield stands today was Nick Kurtz's home run. It's worked so far. Aaron Savali as the bottom of the order, Luis Torrens, and then Tyrone Taylor, and back to the top with Francisco Lindor. 1-1 here.
Well, again, Aaron Savali has been fantastic. And I referred to him as the stabilizer thus far in this starting rotation for the Athletics. And we've seen guys, they check down to first. Sean Barber says, no. But I think we've seen some guys put together good performances. We've seen a bit of a struggle from some places. We've seen command issues, I think, pop up at times. You know, even for Savali, he's dealt with some traffic at times, and I think did a good job of kind of navigating that. And that's, again, a big credit to the right-hander, being able to work through some of that traffic. And start against the Yankees, 4 walks.
The walks were such a big conversation for this team after that first road trip. Pitching staff allowing way too many free passes. Kind of carried over early in this week, and then here today, I love the course correction for Aaron Savali. I mean, he hasn't had much traffic at all. Retired 13 straight after the couple hits in the first inning. But to your point, just highlighting right now, not getting in trouble with the walks. And full count, going to try and avoid it. Here's the payoff pitch, and it'll put a base runner on. A base hit for Torrens into right. For first base runner since the first.
A's fans, you can join us on April 19th, 1:05 as the A's take on the White Sox. Be one of the first fans in the ballpark and score a Stomper plush hat. Oh, I'm into that. It's the perfect way to show team pride and rep your favorite elephant all season long. Lock in your seat now at athletics.com/tickets. Yeah, I want one. Maybe I'll give one to my kids as well, but I want one.
I want one too. Those are great. On the air, shallow center, and going back is McNeil. He'll make the catch. Quick out. Flip the order over. We'll see hitters for the third time through. It was really efficient in the fifth. Just 11 pitches for Aaron Savali. He had 8 pitches in that first at bat for Luis Torrens that put him on base with a single. Still at just 70 pitches here in the sixth. Francisco Lindor 1 for 2. Also caught stealing in that first inning. It's been 73 plate appearances without an RBI. That ball gets down for a single, just station to station though for Torrens.
Well, I think you can hear the excitement from the fans here in the ballpark. Lindor puts a good swing on one, drives his ball up to center.
Multi-hit game for Lindor. Those 2 hits today now makes 9 hits for him. And you see Scott Emerson coming out, have a conversation with the infield with traffic on here. This meeting on the mound is brought to you by the injury attorneys of Ashton and Price.
Well, even with Savali at 71 pitches, we are entering that third time through the order here against the Mets. I know we've got action in that A's bullpen. Left-hander Hogan Harris is up working right now. You see Blanco, the switch hitter, the man at the plate right now. Young behind him, Young the lefty. He knows he's got some options on the bench.
A couple of bopper options. Francisco Alvarez, who has 4 home runs this season to lead the Mets. There's Robert Jr. Vientos, those 3 right-handers. He's gotten the best of Polanco today, 2 strikeouts. Miller's able to keep it in front of him. These have played some really close games. Here on this road trip, they won 1-0 in the 3rd game against the Yankees. First strike. Got a 1-0 lead going into the 9th inning on Friday night against the Mets. Were able to score 3 more and ended up shutting out New York 4-0. Even yesterday was a 1-run affair at one point, 7-6. Late inning offense. Running out of the jam here. On the ground, could be a double play. McNeil to short, Hernandez off to first. The throw late. Maybe first and third with 2 outs.
Yeah, McNeil had some ground to cover to get over to this ground ball and not hit terribly hard. And you can see McNeil on the pivot. And I think just too much speed coming down the line for Polanco as well, especially coming at it from the left side. Savali doing a nice job of avoiding damage to this point. Mark Kotze going to come out and lift the right-hander. Give him a nice pat on the back, job well done. And now the Athletics are going to turn things over to Hogan Harris out of the bullpen. 1-0 here, bottom of the 6th, 2 on, 2 out. We'll be back.
A's Baseball is brought to you by Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. No matter when your spring break is, you gotta spend it here. Buy online and save now at beachboardwalk.com. Get some good grub on a Sunday here at Citi Field. Great food options all around New York. We have been treated like kings and queens here from the eating perspective. Also, watching baseball. Aaron Savali today, nice job. Got into the sixth, 5 2/3. 75 pitches. Not allow a run, but responsible for the 2 runners on, first and third. And it is the pinch hitter in Mark Vientos now against Hogan Harris.
Hogan Harris, the lone left-hander, coming out of the bullpen right now, squaring off against Mark Vientos, who this year has seen it well.
Fly ball into right. Shading with his glove is Butler. He'll make the final catch. It was close, but wipe your brow. A's up 1-0 as we go to the 7th.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Athletics.
That's the final out of the 1973 World Series, where the Athletics were victorious over the New York Mets. Won in 7 games. For that trio of World Series titles. 9 of them in 125 years for the A's. Here we are in the 7th. Darryl Hernandez leads it off against your old pal, Dallas, Sean Manaea.
That's right, the big lefty.
In the zone, out of the gate, 0-2.
Manaea on the mound, obviously that closes the book on Freddie Peralta, who gave the Mets 6 innings today. 6 solid innings, 4 hits, just 1 earned run allowed. It was the homer from Nick Kurtz. Hernandez does indeed go around. Be out number 1. Sean Manaea with that funky arm angle. Can be difficult to pick up at times. That slider that feels like it's coming out of right field.
Clark pulled back the bunny showed. He's 0 for 2 today. Denzel had a couple of RBI opportunities his last 2 at-bats. 2 runners on in the 2nd. He struck out looking, and then it was 2 runners on in the 4th. And hit the ball well out to center field, but unfortunately, he just got robbed. Great catch from his counterpart out there, Carson Bench. 1-2's the count. Chopped over to first. That's exactly where Jared Young was positioned, and he'll take it to the back. 2 gone.
Well, one of my favorite moments in A's history, back at the Coliseum, the left-hander with a no-hitter for Sean Manaea. I had a front row seat, Jenny, literally a front row seat. The place I used to call ball games back at the Coliseum from was right behind, excuse me, home plate, right there. I mean, sitting amongst the fans at diamond level, and I couldn't even watch the last 2 innings. I was so nervous.
How was it one of your favorite performances? You didn't watch it. I know you didn't, because you're on this list of no-hitters. Of course, you have the perfect game along with Catfish Hunter and the organization's history. That's a pretty impressive list right there. And Sean Manaea joined you in 2018. 1-2 now for Lawrence Butler with 2 outs here in the 7th.
I was kind of getting yelled at from the folks in the production. Hey, you got a job to do. And I'm telling them, I can't watch this.
Yeah, there's no superstition in broadcasting. Lawrence strikeout for Manaya out of the pit. Time to stretch here at Citi Field. A's up 1-0.
This telecast is brought to you by Toyota. Class-leading MPG and more hybrid models than any other brand. Toyota, let's go places.
True baseball fans need Wi-Fi that's so reliable it never gets caught looking. Xfinity Internet keeps you in the game at one price for 5 years and allows you to get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that. Imagine a one-run ball game that the A's are trying to win to sweep the Mets. Saw Tom Seaver out front. Great retired numbers here at Citi Field.
There he is.
You saw the bust of Tom Seaver, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, we get greeted by that every time we get on the elevator. And there's a ton of fabulous, or as they say, amazing history here behind this franchise.
There is. Did Tom talk back to you? Because I said hello to him every time I walked by the statue. I never got the reply there. A couple of World Series wins in Mets franchise history. That includes in 1969. 5 of the World Series. Victorious for the first time in a parade in the streets of New York for the other guys. The Mets, not the Yankees. We got the color history down for the Mets and why they're orange and blue.
It's a tribute to the areas that they came from, correct?
Tribute to the teams that left to go to the West Coast.
Right.
You got the Giants. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Giants and the old Brooklyn Dodgers. And Bo Bichette's donning those colors. All those years in Toronto, Bichette trying to make a big impact for the Mets in 2026. He certainly spent the money to try and make the impact. A slower start than they would like, especially here at home. The Mets are 3-5 so far in the season at Citi Field. That payroll, Dallas, it is up there. Deep into the threes.
Well, Steve Cohen, not afraid to open up the pocketbook.
No.
And I think the fans, as Hogan Harris just absolutely blows it by Bo Bichette. But I think that's where the fans and their frustration comes in is, you know, when you're having that conversation sitting on the bar stool, you see 94 just all the way by Bichette. You know, oh, well, your team's spending too much money, but my team doesn't spend enough money, blah, blah. Well, Mets fans can't really say that.
No.
Their team's spending more than anybody.
$352 million is what it's coming in right now, plus or minus, of course.
And when your team is spending that way, I think as a fan, you also want to be able to drop some championships in those conversations.
Good question. I think since Steve Cohen took over, you know, you think about that sale in 2020. It was during the COVID year. He purchased the team for $2.4 billion. In for a strike against Brett Beatty, 3-1. Since then, he has spent over $1.5 billion in payroll and taxes, because he's clearly has to pay the penalty as well. But in 2022, they went to the postseason. They lost in the National League wild card. In 24, they went back. They lost in the NLCS, probably their deepest run, their deepest team, against the Dodgers, who of course eventually won. And last year, completely missed out on the postseason. They finished third in the National League East with the 83-79 record. So that guy right there, you want to talk about hot seats. Aaron Boone on the other side, he's in 9 seasons with the Yankees. Feels like he's in the hot seat all the time, but they're going to the playoffs, right? And now you have the largest payroll in baseball. Carlos Mendoza, brand new team, trying to put it all together. And unfortunately, that pitch for Hogan Harris missed, but an ABS challenge Shea Langoliers, he's not so certain.
Yeah, and I think the Athletics may have something here, Jenny. I like where that pitch was. One of those that I think just kind of tickles the top of the zone.
It's a challenge, and certainly it did.
Ball to strike.
Over it, Shea Langoliers. Mark Kotze liked it too, and he's going to come out with 2 outs and go to the pen. So the lefty's day is done. Hogan Harris coming in, doing his job. Faced 3 batters, struck out 2. Got Brett Beatty looking on the old ABS challenge. We'll be right back. Upcoming schedule brought to you by Service Champions. Well, after spending 12 of the first 15 games in the Eastern time zone, it's time to get back to the West Coast. The Texas Rangers for 4 to begin the week in West Sacramento, starting tomorrow with Game 1. Then Friday for the weekend, it'll be the White Sox in town. Next road trip will be to the Pacific Northwest. 3 against Seattle, an off day, and 3 against the Texas Rangers. It's going to be interesting, Dallas, because I know you can't win the division in April. The old adage, you can certainly lose it. You're going to see the Rangers, who right now, coming into today, sit atop the AL West. Well, guess what? The Athletics win this game. Talking first place, my friend.
I like what you're putting down, partner.
It's a lot of games against one team that you can find yourself with some separation. Saw the Astros already, and we'll see Seattle on that next road trip. Scott Barlow in, 2 outs. Drive out to left. Soderstrom jogging back towards the track. Soderstrom near the wall, and he'll make the catch. Final out of the 7th. We'll move on to Nick Kurtz leading off the 8th.
This powerful performance is brought to you by Xfinity. Get off me, ball. Nicky Nukes is going for launch. Number 1 of the season for Nick Kurtz. And I think, Jenny, like we saw last season in his rookie campaign, once you get that first one out of the way, I feel like they're going to start to come with more and more frequency. Now, a tough matchup here against Sean Manaea, the side-slinging left-hander. Just doesn't make it comfortable on anybody in the box, but I think the bigger picture is that Nick Kurtz, slowly but surely, you start to dip into that power pool.
Just like bananas, they come in bunches. Saw it plenty last year. Saw it early this season with Shea Langoliers and his 5 homers out of the gate. And Nick certainly had weeks where he'd hit one and he just wouldn't stop. I really think he just wanted to try the elephant mask on for size.
Well, you're watching your friends have fun, right?
Great new home run celebration revealed yesterday by the Athletics. I'll bring that thing back to West Sac. 1-2. Laid off, and the catcher and Luis Torrens wants to challenge the called ball.
Yeah, and I think Torrens probably got an argument here. Very good pitch. Yeah.
Pitch to strike.
Turn into strike 3. Nick Kurtz. It's the second time he's had a strikeout here tonight, but Manaea isn't dealing out of the pen.
You know, selfishly, I think I want to see somebody just still argue even after that square lights up pink.
Your technology's wrong.
Yeah, Robot's got it wrong.
We have Shea Langoliers. Shea 1 for 3. That batting average just below 300. Sitting at 298 coming into this AB. 3 challenges today, 2 for the Athletics, 1 for the New York Mets, and all 3 were correct. Dallas, this team sitting at 4-1 on a road trip. Of course, you look back at the very beginning of the season through Toronto and Atlanta, came away with just 1 win in those 6 games. Started the season 1-5, and you go, gosh, they're going to the East Coast twice within the first couple weeks. They're spending a ton of time away, only 3 home games. How's it gonna look? In the air to right, and it's gonna be a foul ball.
And I'll tell you, I mean, if it's just you and I in the trust tree right now.
Yeah, it's just us.
Would I have been happy with 6 and 9? I don't know that I would have been happy with it. Is it palatable? Maybe so. But the fact that you know how an opportunity to get away in those first 15 games, 8 and 7, and feel pretty good about it. I think more specifically, the reasoning behind that is understanding who your opponents have been during this first stretch of ball games and what their aspirations are, what their expectations are. I think each and every one of those teams fancies himself a postseason contender.
Strike 3. There's strikeouts now from Anaya in the 5 batters he's faced.
And maybe even more so than postseason contenders, division leaders. I mean, these are teams that feel like they've got enough firepower to take the division down. And when you put all that together, and you also factor in the long road trip to start the season through Toronto and Atlanta. You were out 3 days early in Toronto. And then you get on a plane and come back home, excuse me, for 72 hours and play baseball, then right back on an airplane, all the way back to the East Coast again, as you mentioned, against a team who's probably favored to win the American League and American League East, and as well as this team here in the NL. Like there's a lot of expectation.
That's struck well up the middle. It'll be the second baseman making the play, Marcus Semien. 3 up, 3 down. The A's trying to hold this lead. So go to the bottom of the 8th. This game summary is brought to you by Toyota. Pitchers duel this Sunday afternoon. Each team with 4 hits, 1 run for the Athletics off of Nick Kurt's homer. That was back in the 3rd. They lead 1-0. Aaron Savali did his job on the bump. 5 2/3, 4 hits. He retired 13 straight at one point. And Freddie Peralta got into some deep counts. 100 pitches for him, but did get through 6 innings, allowing that 1 run. 3 walks and 6 strikeouts. Here we are in the bottom of the 8th. It's the bottom of the order. Carson Binge leads it off. Scott Barlow continues to work. Came in, got the final out of the 7th. Binge, Torrens, Taylor due up.
There's the big fella, Elvis Alvarado, starting to loosen up. It's a very, very eerie shot when you think about it. You got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball looming in the shadows, just waiting to be pulled out and let loose.
Imposing figure. Heard as much at Yankee Stadium. A couple of the broadcasters there commenting on it. You guys got some big dudes in your pen.
Well, with him and Joe Kunal, some sizable fellas.
The 2-2, lifted in the air to the outfield. And Denzel and Soderstrom both going for it. The left fielder cutting off the center fielder. I'm not sure they hurt each other, but it all worked out.
Well, it's something that I think you can appreciate communication, but at some point in time, somebody is going to have to give way to avoid, I think, what we saw in the beginning of the season in Toronto. And I mentioned the idea of coming away. Look, you get the out at the end of the day and you're happy with it, right? But I think in an effort to avoid further miscommunication, you want to make sure that that stuff's ironed out. I mean, we just saw Parker Meadows, who a very, very unfortunate collision, which, I mean, he suffered a laceration, a broken left arm.
Yeah.
I mean, it can just be, it can be a very dangerous situation that unfolds very quickly.
Here's the 0-2 missing.
And with the size of Tyler Soderstrom,
Oh, yeah.
and the size of Denzel Clark and the speed that they both have, I mean, you get those two fellas moving at top speed, heading towards each other. That's putting two freight trains on a track. And the last thing you want to see that is a collision.
Shot into right field, and Lawrence. How about a sliding catch for him?
Law Dog with a highlighter glove makes a highlight reel play. Ball hit well, just continues to slice and fade away from Lawrence Butler, who has a bead on it from the jump. Goes into a nice side saddle slide, picks it up off the turf. Well done, Law Dog.
Just a matter of time. He tried to rob a homer yesterday. It was inches from that. See those pants getting dirty for Law out there. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. The 9-hole hitter Tyrone Taylor with an 0-1 count. Barlow's had a nice New York visit. Perfect against the Yankees on Wednesday. An inning and 2/3, 4 strikeouts. That was in the 3-2 victory.
Well, the airbender, Devin Williams, starting to loosen now for the Mets.
Called strike 2 and 2.
Looks like Taylor, not a huge fan of the call. He might have an argument here, I think. Yeah.
Pitches the ball.
And that's a big pitch. I mean, that's the difference between being one pitch away from this at bat being over via punch out. Now you've got count leverage. You've got a pitch or two to work with if you want.
And now a walk. So seeing the ABS come into play. How a pitcher attacks a hitter. Just mentioned it. The count shifting, changing, and here comes Marcotte. Barlow faced his minimum, and with Taylor on base and the lineup heading to the switch hitter and Francisco Lindor, Marcotte is going to go to the pen to get Elvis Alvarado coming up.
Saturday means Sacramento Saturdays. You can join us on April 18th, 105, as the A's take on the White Sox. Be one of the first fans in the ballpark and score a Sacramento script hat. It's a perfect way to rep your team all season long. You can lock in your seat right now at athletics.com/tickets. Well, the Athletics have locked in Elvis Alvarado here to take on Francisco Lindor. Pretty big at bat here for the Mets shortstop, Elvis Alvarado. As I mentioned, that 100-mile-an-hour fastball looming in the shadows has found daylight
here in the middle of the diamond. Mark Kotze opting for a little more velocity, I think, here against Francisco Lindor.
First pitch missing outside.
Lindor, career .269 hitter from the left side.
Today he's found success from that left side, 2 for 3. Taylor ended up on first after an ABS challenge, got in a favorable count. Scott Barlow walked him. He represents the tying run in this game. 2-1. Check over on Taylor. Interesting that the boos are coming out when Lindor's up to bat, but they're not booing him this time. Big hack. Two count with 2 outs. Runner taken off and the pitch foul back. We were commenting earlier that a ball won't reach our booth in this stadium. That was about 2 rows below us and a little down. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think I'm running out of time though. That's okay.
Your ideas on the stadium could change today.
See if Taylor, another sizable lead over there. Yep, he's gone.
Taylor goes again, and a ground ball to McNeil. Slow roller, double clutch, but gets the ball there in time. Elvis Alvarado coming in to get the job done. He'll head back to the dugout. Look for some insurance from his offense before the 9th. 6 years old. He played for the Oakland Athletics from 1973 to 1976, and the 16-year major leaguer turned from an infielder to a manager. Managed the Astros to their first World Series appearance. Of course, he spent time in the organization for the Athletics later under Bob Melvin as a special advisor from 2011 to 2012.
Well, not just a skipper for the Astros, but Milwaukee, Detroit. A baseball man, a baseball life well lived.
He represented a lot of organizations between his playing and managing days. Left a big mark on a lot of people. Here's the pitch. Carlos Cortez hitting, or excuse me, Andy Ibanez pinch hitting. Sean Manaea continues to work. 7th batter, Manaea is faced out of the pen. And Ibanez lifts this and into the stands, foul. 0-2 for the pinch hitter. Came in for Cortez in his spot. Did for the righty over the lefty. Cortez 1 for 3. This is his final line today. He's provided some great offense for the Athletics in the first couple weeks of the season.
Well, we're not quite sure if Alvarado was on for just one hitter or not. It'll be Big Joel Kuhnel, who's also looming in the shadows in that A's bullpen. Looks like he's moving around down there with some intent. So the 9th inning very well may be his.
Kuhnel had such a great spring and then Again, a season at AAA. Came up this week, and he has made an immediate impact.
Well, he came in the ball game at Yankee Stadium. Got through his work. Back on the mound in Yankee Stadium the next night, logged a save.
Here's the 1-2. Ibanez out to left field. Catch for Taylor, one out.
Here it was, Wednesday night. After falling behind 3-0, got himself back into the count in the final at bat and got the big punch out. That's a great feeling. And I think a very welcome presence down there in that bullpen.
Here's the 0-1 to Muncy. No question, his arrival was a big spark for a guy that hadn't pitched in the big leagues since 2024. Spent last year in the minor leagues between Phillies organization and the Yankees AAA affiliate. Getting to pitch at Yankee Stadium, pretty cool. There's a one bouncer. Hot shot to Simeon. 2 gone. That'll bring up Jeff McNeil. Batting average for Jeff up to 326. A week where he's hitting 500 in New York. 10 for 20.
Been a pretty good week.
Very productive. 3 runs scored, 3 doubles, a couple RBI. Even walked. Saw some great defense too early in this series against his former team. Soaking up Citi Field, played a lot of baseball here. Popped up on the infield. Right side, Mark Vientos, who came in to play first base after pinch hitting, will make the catch. 3 up, 3 down. Let's go to the bottom of the ninth. The boys in green and gold looking to shake hands. They're up 1-0.
Welcome back. Time now for your play of the day, presented by your California Ford dealers. And dealing is what he was doing. Savali, 5 2/3, 4 hits, nary a run to be found here at Citi Field against the right-hander. Did not walk a batter, punched out 3, had some great defense behind him as well. And Aaron Savali continuing to be that stabilizing force in this rotation. He was able to hand it over to a bullpen, has been able to keep this Mets offense at bay this afternoon. And right now, it's going to be Big Joel Kunal on for the save.
First pitch, missing to Jorge Polanco. To be Polanco, Mark Vientos, Bo Bichette. Dallas was telling you about the big save that Kunal had for the New York Yankees. Gets a ground ball here. Weekly hit to second. McNeil underhand it, 1 gone.
That's a very nice play there from Jeff McNeil. Something these infielders have to be prepared for with the sinker baller up there on the mound. You get something topped off the end of the bat, you're going to have to come in, make a play, charge it. He has no time to get a full arm swing and deliver that ball overhand, probably a little too far for a glove flip. So it's just a little shovel pass from McNeil for out number 1.
Mark Vientos up for the second time. He swings at the first pitch. A slow bouncer to Muncy, charging in, and Nick Kurtz completes the catch on the other end. 2 gone.
I tell you, well, Kurtz working the bag like a heavyweight boxer. And again, the ball just topped over to the left side. Muncy with a quick scoop and a fire. And if you're a base runner, you got to make a business decision. And I think that decision was made by Vientos. Said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and peel off here. I don't think I want to run into the big fella. But Muncy with a quick scoop and a throw. And Nick Kurtz, as I said, showing some outstanding footwork over there around the bag at first.
Joel Kuhnel will have to face Bo Bichette. Looking for the final out. He swings at the first pitch on the right side. And how about the former Met, Jeff McNeil, to make the final play? Congratulations to the Athletics, sweeping the New York Mets, who are booing their team. That's the first time that's happened in franchise history. Dallas a 1-0 win. The Athletics are 8-7. That is a winning record through the first 15. They've won 5 straight. And dare I say, people look at the standings in the AL West.
Jenny, I don't know if I want to say much right now. I think I just want to soak up the boos that we're hearing here at Citi Field, and for good reason. This team, we told you, in the New York Mets came along with high expectations. The green and gold, expectations of their own. And I think they have done a fantastic job on what could have been a daunting road trip in delivering. This has been a fantastic performance all series long. You got great starting pitching efforts. The bullpen has been locked down, lights out. We watched this offense climb back and fend off a rally late in the ballgame by the Mets last night, and capped off by save number 2 today by Big Joel Kuhnel.
5 wins on the 6-game road trip, all in New York. Beat the Yankees, beat the Mets with a sweep, and how about 3 shutouts over those 6 games? Luis Severino will take the ball tomorrow against the Texas Rangers, and Nathan Eovaldi will be a fun one, but we got to wrap this up because it's been a very fun road trip. Stay tuned. Ace Cast on NBC Sports, presented by Toyota, starts right now.